It seems a tad bit weird to do a video on a character who hasn't ever been seen in the books and has only been mentioned a handful of times. But it makes sense too, as despite the fact that not much is known about her, she somehow managed to get more maps made about her than Stone Mover, who appears in many books and has a backstory just as dramatic as her. Perhaps the reason why she is so popular is because not much is known about her. She is a blank slate, free for anyone to project their own stories upon and declare as canon. Today, I'm going to be discussing what we do know about Orca in canon, and what that tells us about what we don't know about her. Orca was born into the royal Seawing family. Her mother was Queen Coral and her father King Gil. When she turned 2 years old, she was sent to the Talons of Power ceremony. She turned up negative, however, she kept the secret. She was really an animus. It's unknown how many spells, if any, she made. We know she made at least one though, which we will go over later. Orca has another trait. She is a sculptor. This skill was likely encouraged by her mother, who was creative herself and enjoyed writing novels. Sculpting is a form of art that requires very precise movements in order to not permanently damage the piece. From this, we could assume that Orca was very calculated and cautious, a trait also seen in her hiding her animus abilities. What did other dragons think about her and her personality? According to Gil, Orca was protective of her siblings. He also said that he couldn't imagine why she challenged her mother at such a young age. Coral says that she couldn't believe that Orca hid this, as in her animus magic, from her, implying some closeness between them. But I take Coral to be a biased source when it comes to her children, because she is abusive, something I've been pretty outspoken about. It could be that she's romanticizing her dead daughter because she can't speak for herself. She also could have been nothing like this in life. It is also common for kids to hide things from their parents, especially abusive parents such as Coral. Moray also apparently some negative feelings towards Orca, as an enemy warned Tsunami not to mention Orca's name near her. This could be because of Moray's ambitions towards the throne, or something else. One interesting comment made on Orca is from Tsunami. She sees a statue of Orca and wonders if she'd carved her own portrait, and if she'd known that it would be a memorial one day. While this is likely a rhetorical question, with the obvious answer of no, I can't help but think, what if the answer was yes? At one point, Orca decided to combine both of her skills into one. She made an enchanted statue and gifted it to her mother. Unbeknownst to Queen Coral, the statue was enchanted to kill any female royal eggs placed near it. Orca challenged her mother to a challenge shortly after making the statue. She was only 7 at the time. Currently, the age that a dragon becomes mature at is 8, so she didn't even wait until she was an adult to challenge her mother to a fight. However, Tui's have been iffy on aging before. Just watch my video on the aging problem, so this may have been established before Tui had a concrete age in mind for dragon maturity, and later retconned with Gil. During the battle, Orca initially had the upper hand. She had her mother pinned, and that was when her mother used her narwhal horn on her tail to go straight through the chest of Orca, killing her. A bit of an underhanded move, in my opinion, because it was a weapon when Orca had none. Wait, actually she did. Her animus magic. However, Orca didn't use it. According to Tui, which, because of the death of the author, I advise you to take her statement with a grain of salt, she wanted to prove to herself that she could win in a fair fight, so she didn't end up using her magic. It's interesting that she was honest enough to challenge her mother and not slaughter her using animus magic and take the throne that way, but not extend the same courtesy to her daughters, and possibly because I'm not sure how the enchantment is worded, the daughters of any royal who happened to place their eggs in a hatchery. Perhaps she thought it would be kinder for them? I mean, kill them now or kill them in 8 years. What's the difference? Or maybe she wanted attention to play the part of the grieving queen, similar to how she played the part of the perfect daughter around her parents whilst acting cruel to everyone else. One thing that needs to be considered when talking about Orca's character is that her mother sucks. Queen Coral displays abusive tendencies, helicopter parenting her daughters, and neglecting her sons. And while that may have been in part caused by Orca's statue murdering all of her heirs and causing her to become hyper-paranoid, I feel like it wasn't all caused by that, likely. Perhaps Orca suffered abuse, and that abuse was the reason why she challenged her mother so early. Her mother was abusive, she figured challenging her for the throne would be the easiest way to get rid of her. In that context, the statue enchantment takes on a different meaning. It was a last-ditch effort to make sure that if she did die, none of Coral's future daughters would suffer the same pain that she felt. An act of mercy rather than an act of wanting to preserve her legacy. This is also supported by Gil saying that she wished Orca was here and still alive so she could protect her sisters herself, which implies that Orca was protective of her siblings, perhaps so overprotective that she would murder them just to keep them safe. The dichotomy is incredibly interesting. On one hand, you can interpret Orca as a cold mastermind, one who hid her true nature from everyone else and only had her ways revealed after she was dead, leaving a trail of children's corpses in her wake. On the other hand, you could say that she was a recluse who was possibly abandoned, who challenged early because she was desperate, and strangely enough, killed her siblings out of love. There's quite a contrast between the two, and who knows what she was really like. But that's the fun part. We get to decide for ourselves. So what's your opinion on Orca and what she may have been like? Comment down below. Do you have any other characters you'd like me to do and make some videos on, either from Warrior Cats or Wings of Fire? Comment them as well. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I make Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who've already subscribed, thank you for your continued support. I wouldn't have gone here without y'all. Peace, Rogan out.